Game live today on the beautiful campus of Middle Tennessee State University. Chase McKay, Big Joe Dubin with you. JoJo, how you doing?
Good, man. And I think the people need to know that you put all this together and set this remote up in about 18 seconds. So
well,
I'm proud of you.
I always tell the young kids, learn everything, learn how to do it all, and I've done it, and I've done it enough because other people didn't want to learn how to do it, and so
that's why you're the boss man now.
That's why I'm the boss.
And plus, the MTSU campus has changed a tad bit since we were here.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Lord.
I was like, which one of these is the student union?
I think I ran over 5 students up there. Like, hey, can you tell me where I'm going? They're like, yeah, go, old man, go over there.
But anyway, we are live today at MTSU. You can kind of hear it in the background. They are going to name their new head football coach, which has been reported is Derek Mason, former Vanderbilt. Not our Derek Mason. I'm not letting him off work to coach football from 11 to 2. So it's former Vanderbilt football coach Derek Mason. Is Chris Massaro, the athletic director, is now at the podium.
Yeah, I walked in looking for Mark Owens, the SID, and I walked in a room, and there was Coach Mason and Mr. Massaro, and we talked for a few moments, and that was it. It was like, oh, sorry to ruin the party, and then on the way. But they have the new football coach, and they'll go forward.
Yeah. Obviously he has head coaching experience. I'm always curious of when a guy goes, for his second job, like what are the things, and we're going to have him on at some point, but what are the things that, you change, that's different from job one to different to job two.
Sure.
Obviously, you don't have the pressures of the SEC, but this is a tough job. I mean, Rick Stockstill did a really good job for 18 years, overcoming a lot of the things that you have to with any job, but this one in particular. And
well, they'll get on board with facilities. Played Liberty, and the facilities at Liberty are SEC quality. I mean, so it's a game of catch-up now. So Middle is catching up. They've got the facilities underway. You see the construction on campus and be built here, I think, by the 2025, and then they'll go forward and be on a level playing field. And it's just that's the stature of college football today is you got to kind of catch up with everybody else. It is an arms race. That was the term in the 70s and 80s of Russia and United States and the arms race, but it is truly that way in college football. But, Mason left after 20 at Vanderbilt, spent 21 to D.C., I think, at Oklahoma State.
Well, he went to Auburn.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, he went to Auburn and then Oklahoma State.
Yes, and then last year, I get my dates mixed. And then, calling football for the SEC. But a coach always wants to do what, Chase?
Win.
Coach.
And coach.
Yeah, winning is important, yes. But they always want to coach, and so it's a good opportunity for Derek Mason to come to MTSU and get it done.
I get my dates mixed up, too. That's why I'm single. So,
oh man,
yeah. So Chris Massaro, the athletic director, speaking right now. We'll have a lot going on. Again, Derek Mason going to join us at some point during the show. But Ryan McDonough, Predators defenseman, that's moved around a little bit. Going to join us at 9:15 now. They just got word on that. So
is he?
He is. So he'll join
Mr.
us.
Mr. McDonough. Good. Can we talk about the Preds last night in Forsberg? I mean they're amazing.
Oh yeah. Well, Forsberg's he's just. Filthy. I mean, whatever pun you want to use. Joe's next to me, by the way. Those of you watching on the stream, he's just kind of bent over.
Oh, my bad.
There you are.
Okay. Let's scoot down a little bit. Handsome today, too.
Yeah, you do look handsome today. Got your blue on. Feel good.
I am true blue.
The color analyst for the MTSU Blue Raiders.
So my opinion is heavily weighed today. Nobody cares about me.
I care.
Thank you.
I definitely care about you. Titans will be back on the practice field waving Monty Rice yesterday, and then you got to love his tweet on the way out.
Was it thank God?
Yeah. Guess what? He's deleted it.
And has he?
Oh, yeah.
Well, then Darrington Evans, did you see this?
No.
Former Titan running back tweeted back to him and said, hey, man, it's just like we talked about, blah, blah, blah. And somebody tweeted back to Darrington Evans and said, bro, shut up. You couldn't even beat out Kerry Blassingame. Twitter, once again, is undefeated.
Oh, yeah.
It's awful, but it's undefeated.
Oh, it is very good. That is for sure. So,
but he was a third-round pick. So John Robinson, and these draft choices of his. I mean, at what point do we blame Vrabel for this too? Is that Robinson's?
Well, that's a Robinson pick. I mean, he's going to get the blame for it. But I mean, don't you have to coach guys up? Isn't that kind of the part of being the coach?
So that reminds me, when they took Chris Henry in which Chris Henry still is one of the worst draft choices ever did.
Oh, Jeff wanted some Chris Henry.
Well, not he. It was one of the scouts wanted him.
Yeah.
And evidently they got him. I think Reinfeld drafted Chris Henry, and they were like, well, he didn't do much at college. And like, well, look at him, and now it's your job. One of the scouts allegedly told Fisher, now it's your job to coach him up.
Yeah.
So, if you're bad, it's really hard to coach somebody up.
Sure. I mean, like, you got to have the right amount of talent, to make it in this league. And some do and some don't. Dr. Sidney McPhee is now at the podium. As, again, we're here at MTSU. They're about to introduce Derek Mason as the new football coach, the former Vanderbilt football coach. But, yeah, and that's why Craig Ackerman's not the special teams coach anymore, because Mike Vrabel, I think it was Mike Vrabel, I hope it was Mike Vrabel, decided that the job wasn't good enough, and ultimately decided to make a change.
Can we talk about I listened to Robbie and Rex show this morning quite a bit coming down here about the TD piece on.
Sure.
And some people going at TD like, oh, that's a puff piece, and you fall into their trap. Look, man, I think Joe Rexrode said it best. Look, we just report what they,
Sure.
Our job is not, writer-wise, not to be an opinion. You did an interview. So don't put your opinion there. It's what they're talking, what they're saying. Here's my thing. I think how convenient that all came out after that story in the Boston whatever about the conflict between Carthon and Vrabel. And to me, and I'm a conspiracy theorist, and you know this, to me it seemed like it was a thing like, well, if the people out there think Vrabel is like this egomaniac and he wants to run the program, this piece came out, and basically Vrabel was like, hey, we work hand in hand. We're working, it's a first-year relationship. We're getting things done, but we're a team here, and Miss Amy, blah, 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 blah. It makes, to me, I read it, it makes Vrabel look like, hey, he's a good guy. He might be a good guy. I don't know, but just we hear all the conflict coming from over there.
They needed to do something. They needed to talk.
Right.
Because, there's this narrative out there that Carthon and Vrabel hate each other, and, whether this squashes that or not, I don't know if it truly squashes it, but it's certainly something that they needed to do.
Yeah. Oh,
they needed to get out there.
Sure. And now you can analyze from there and figure out what you want to do and all that other stuff, but that's exactly what, kind of thing that we got there.
Jeff is telling me that you're breathing into the mic. So.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal.
We got to breathe, man.
I had to walk up 8,000 steps to find you, to find the SID, go back down the steps, and come back up the steps. Yeah. So
it's fine.
I'll try not to breathe.
we are talking. We are talking like we're on the 17th green at Augusta.
Wow. Well, there's a press conference below us down
exactly.
here.
So we got to do that.
So you guys are on the second level. Okay, makes sense.
We are. We are high above the press conference. Just looking down on Dr. Sidney McPhee right now in our broadcast location.
Yeah, we're in our ivory tower right now, Dr. Crane, so don't bother us.
Gotcha.
Well, Dr. Crane can, he's cool.
No, we're ivory towers today.
I'll whisper with you guys to make it sound all the same.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's what we got to do. We're trying to make it all work here. But you mentioned the Predators. They get the 4-3 shootout win last night in Chicago. Philip Forsberg is just Philip Nasty Forsberg, basically, is what he is. Ryan O'Reilly's goal was nice too in that shootout. So, but they get the 2 points, and you know what I love, and we're going to talk to Ryan McDonough in a few minutes. What I love about Andrew Brunette is even in a win, he's like, we'll take the 2 points. I'm glad we got the win, but it still wasn't our best game, and we got some stuff we got to work on.
Good.
Like I like that.
Yeah.
Out of the coach. That's
Don't
what I
be
want to hear.
satisfied.
Sure. I mean, wins are nice, but you always strive to get better.
Yes,
and that's
you do.
what I like about him.
Yeah. Well, that's what he likes about you.
Well, thank you. That's that's what I try to do every day. Is get better. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's weird because we're in this area where people can see us and hear us, but we don't want to be too loud over the press conference, and so it's a fine balance here.
I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Part of me wants, people at the podium to, start looking up. Like, what is that doing?
All right, well, then here we go then. And that's what we'll do.
That's kind of want to, get you to laugh. And,
yeah. So we got Ryan McDonough coming up at 9:15?
We sure do.
Okay.
He's going to join us in just a few minutes.
I wonder if he's any kin to H.I. McDonough.
You can ask him if you'd like.
Do you know
to.
where that's from?
No.
The Raising Arizona, the movie.
Oh, okay.
When
I've
they
never seen it.
Oh, have you? You've never seen Raising
I
Arizona?
haven't.
All right.
Do I need to be cultured?
Yeah, Radio World. We got to get Chase to watch Raising Arizona. Nah, I mean, like your former boss never watched A Few Good Men and Shawshank Redemption.
True.
Because he's a bonehead. But we're going to get you to watch. And
Look, I'm always open.
Okay,
to whatever.
Raising Arizona. All right,
Okay.
we'll do it.
We can do that. Maybe this weekend.
Maybe this week. We're slightly busy.
Yeah, we're
As we
busy
make
this
an
weekend.
announcement, we'll make the announcement tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
What we're doing.
Okay.
And our radio listeners will absolutely love it. So.
It will. It will be awesome. Coming up next, we'll talk to Ryan McDonough, Predators defenseman. He will join us here on the Chase and Big Joe Show, presented by Regal Realty Group, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, live today on the campus of Middle Tennessee State University. Derek Mason, their new head football coach, is at the podium right now as we speak. But the Predators
gave us a big shout out too.
Did he?
He said, "Hey, Chase."
Oh, I missed that. Sorry. The Predators get the win last night, 4-3 in Chicago in the shootout. That's 2 in a row. We say hello to Ryan McDonough, defenseman for the Nashville Predators, who joins us now. Ryan, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. Doing well, thanks.
Tough one last night, but you guys get the 2 points. Obviously, going to a shootout, which is always kind of a crapshoot, but you guys are able to get the win. But what were your takeaways of the 2 road games in Buffalo and Chicago?
Yeah, I mean, the scores were tight, and the Buffalo game, I thought we had close to a 60-minute effort there. Played really well. Gave up the 1 penalty shot goal, but created a lot of chances offensively. I thought their goalie played extremely well. And then in the third period there with a 1-goal lead, I thought we did really well, playing tight, but, also getting some chances offensively. That's what you want to learn and grow as a team here is playing well in those tight situations. And then obviously to Chicago, it was, kind of a track meet there back and forth for a little bit and then tight there in the third. And, at this point in the season, you're getting then, 20 games. Teams are really starting to improve, and I was pretty impressed by Chicago's pace. They skated well with us, and you could tell right away at the beginning of the game it was, going to come down to 1 or 2 plays here or there. So it was great for us to find a way to get that second point there in the shootout.
You mentioned that both games were tight and low scoring in Buffalo and relatively low scoring, 3 goals apiece, and then into the overtime in the shootout last night. How does that test a team? And is it good to go through games like that as you go through an 82-game season?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, you're not going to score 5 or 6 goals every night, and teams are going to get better here defensively, and goalies are going to have great games and stand on their head at times. And I think that's what we saw here. We saw Buffalo, their goalie play really well. I think when we look back at the game, we had a lot more chances than them, and liked our game offensively. Just didn't find the net as much. And at the end of the day, you want to find ways to win games. Maybe in the past year we found ways to lose games, and especially coming off a tough one against the Rangers there at home. We thought we played really well again, and a couple details here and there, and we gave up some goals. So it was good for us to bounce back and win a couple of tight ones right away.
Ron, you guys came out of the gate, not playing the best hockey that you wanted to, but these last 10 games you've gone 8-2. Is there a reason why you guys are playing really good hockey now? Was it just it all came together at one time? Did it take a little while to gel? Can you put your finger on why you guys had such good success these last 10, 12 games?
Yeah, I mean, definitely taking some accountability within our game, both individually and as a team. And I think we found some of the strengths of our game. You talk about playing some top teams, even against the Rangers, we felt like we were skating really well. When we're at our best, we play at a high pace, and then the execution with the puck comes second to that. But if we don't have that pace of play, that intensity, that up and down, forwards, back checking, and defense up in the play, it's going to be tough for us to have success. So I think we've realized now how hard we have to work and how fast we have to be skating out there at all times for us to have some success, and our pace of play has really upped this last stretch here and helped us win some games.
Years ago when Barry Trotz was the head coach, he talked about when you go on the road with a young team, he loved being away from Nashville because it was you guys versus the world. With so many new guys coming in, are these road trips where you feel like you bond closer with these young guys on this hockey team?
You for sure do. Absolutely. You get battle tested in some great environments outside of Bridgestone, like you talked about, and like I said, go into a tough building and pull out a gutsy win in the third period or a shootout like we did. Those are what help you gain confidence and grow as a young player and as a young team like ourselves. So it's always great to have a nice home stand if you can take advantage of it. But at the end of the day, you got to go out and win some games on the road if you want to make the playoffs at the end of the season. So we've like I said, found a little bit of a recipe here as far as the way we want to play, and it shouldn't really change whether we're at home or on the road. But like I said, we're finding ways to win games, and that's what's most important.
Predators defenseman Ryan McDonough is with us. here on 102.5 The Game. Tomorrow you'll be back in Nashville for a matchup against the Tampa Bay Lightning. You saw them the first game of the season, and obviously a lot changes with the team, with both teams between the first game of the season and now. But is there a benefit now to get a second look at a really good team in Tampa?
Yeah, that's obviously going to be a huge challenge. We had them right off the bat. A lot of excitement there, game one, and that's a veteran team that's got a lot of superstars and a lot of talent on it. So again, it's going to require us to play well, play fast, make sure we're skating with their speed and their skill. And like I said, probably will come down to one or two plays being the difference here. So like I said, we want to keep rolling here with this little bit of momentum we've got going, and be a huge test tomorrow, that's for sure.
Hey, Ryan, on our show, Chase asks all the really good questions, and I ask all the really dumb ones. So I'm curious, your day with the Cup, what did you do?
I had it back in Minnesota. I actually spent the first half of the day just about an hour away from the Twin Cities, where I'm from, at my lake house in Wisconsin. And we did kind of a little mini boat parade and had family and friends do some pictures there at the lake. I took it back to my high school, in my high school hockey rink, and then took it to a fire station nearby, and then ended up having a party at one of my favorite local spots there kind of the rest of the night.
That's awesome. Do they show up at 12:01 and then at 11:59 they take it away from you? How's that work?
It doesn't start quite at 12:01, but I tried to start as early as I could. I think I got up and grabbed it about 7 or 7:30. We took a little prop plane over to landed on the lake, which was pretty fun. But yeah, they do leave right away at midnight. That's the rule. It doesn't stay a minute after. So it was a great day. I was really fortunate to be able to have that day because we didn't get one the first time we won. So it was awesome to be able to get that day with my family and friends.
Is it weird seeing your name on the Cup? Because I think it would be. I mean, I know it's great, just kind of surreal.
Yeah, very surreal. I mean, you look at that when you first look at it and you see all the teams and the players, the Hall of Famers, the dynasties that have come in our game. It's unbelievable to realize that your name's going to be on there alongside your teammates and that you won and you've accomplished, everything you dream about when you start playing this game.
Ryan McDonough is with us, and I heard Andrew Brunette last night talking about the win, and what I really like about him, and I would think that you as a veteran in this league would appreciate that too, is you obviously want to get 2 points, you want to get the wins, but he's always striving to get better, and if he notices something that you all can improve upon, he's going to discuss that. How big is it to have a head coach that not only says those things, but he's lived those battles during his playing career as well?
Yeah, for sure. I think you hit it on the head. He can have a great feel for where the team is at, and obviously he's got a staff around him to help with that. But there's obviously going to be games where you play well and don't get the result that you want, and there's going to be games where you don't play well and you'd still get the result you want. So it's a fine line as far as being honest with the team and where you're at, and you want to make sure that you are looking at the whole performance as a whole and where you can improve and get better, because as we keep chipping away here at these games, you get into game 30, game 40, teams are going to start really improving here and be even that much better within their system. So we've got to be doing the same thing ourselves.
I know you play with a lot of good players, but seeing what Philip Forsberg's done, Ryan, the first part of this season's got to be something pretty cool to watch, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I had obviously a taste of him last year. He's been so impressive on both sides of the puck. Obviously, we love seeing him score goals and make plays offensively, but he's taken it upon himself to be just as dependable on the defensive side and back checking and using his speed and his size and in the D zone to break pucks out and make plays there. So he's been a joy to watch, and you can see it on his face. He's excited to come to the rink, and that positive energy is just kind of flowing through the rest of our forward group, which is awesome for us.
Well, as a fan, it's fun to watch what he's doing. Ryan, Tampa comes in tomorrow night. Is it it's still kind of an odd feeling watching the team you spent 4 or 5 years with come and playing against them, or is that all past now that you've been in Nashville for a year?
It slowly gets a little bit more comfortable playing those guys. I mean, you'll always remember those memories that you made and the success that you had with the handful of guys that are still there. Seems like there's less and less of the guys that we won with that are still there in Tampa, so it makes it a little bit easier when you go to play them during the season. But yeah, no, it's just a huge challenge. It's a fun challenge. I mean, it's a mix of emotions, and you've got to contain those and realize that you got a job to do, and there's 2 points on the line, and hopefully you can remember some of their tendencies and the way they want to play, and use that to your advantage here to find a way to get 2 points.
Well, Ryan, we appreciate the time this morning, and good luck tomorrow against Tampa at Bridgestone, and hope you guys can get 2 more points. Thanks.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan McDonough, Predators defenseman, joining us here on the program now. As you hear the applause in the background, Derek Mason being introduced as MTSU's head football coach. Yeah, Phil in Kentucky texted in and said, "I'm not missing much with Raising Arizona. Just get the Cliff Notes."
Oh, he's crazy. Well, the reason we brought, because Ron McDonough, H.I. McDonough is the name of Nicolas Cage's character in Raising Arizona, and my man Chase has never watched it, so we'll have a movie night Saturday and we'll watch it.
Yeah, there you go. Bring the popcorn. That is for sure.
Oh, man.
Coming up next, we'll talk to John McClain from Houston, as we always do on Wednesdays at this time. We'll do that next here on Chase and Big Joe, live today at MTSU 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Big Joe live today at MTSU, Middle Tennessee State University, as they have just introduced Derek Mason as their new head football coach. Again, former Vanderbilt coach, not our Derek Mason. We're not letting him off 11-2. He's still going to be doing that. But congratulations to Coach Mason. He'll join us here in just a little bit. And right now we bring in John McClain, Sports Radio 610 in Houston, as he joins us every Wednesday at 9:30. John, how are you?
I'm great. It seems to me like one of the Derricks should use their middle initial, because when I first heard Derek Mason had been hired at Vanderbilt, I'm like, wow, that was a meteoric rise for Derek Mason. And then I figured it out, of course. But for people from afar, it's confusing. Congratulations to Derek Mason, the football coach, and always Derek Mason, the talk show host, does a great job.
Well, I'll tell you this, John. We were down in Birmingham one time for SEC Media Days with when Derek Mason was at Vanderbilt, and our Derek Mason, was with us as well. And our Derek Mason, the receiver, goes on a station, and they said Coach Derek Mason joins us now, and we all gave him a hard time. We all gave him a hard time.
Oh, my goodness.
Because we were like,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say we gave him a hard time because we were like, Derek, you should have said, yeah, we're going undefeated this year. We're going to win the national championship.
Oh, that'd be great. One time when Mike Rozier was a running back with the Oilers, his brother came to town. They look a lot alike, and his brother was in the locker room after practice, and a media person walked up while Mike was in the shower and talked to his brother. Instead of his brother saying, well, Mike's in the shower, he did a whole interview, and his brother, Mike, was very outspoken. And so the brother thought he needed to be, and the Houston Post had a whole story with Mike Rozier saying all these great things, and, of course, it wasn't Mike. You guys remember back at University of Texas, they had two Johnny Joneses. They both played, and they called them, shortened their high schools, Johnny Ham from Hamlin and Johnny Lamb for Lampasas. And Johnny Lamb went on to be a high pick of the Jets, but that's how people kept them from being confused.
John McClain is with us, Sports Radio 610 in Houston. And so as you look at the NFL this season and to this point, I mean, obviously you have teams like San Francisco and Philadelphia, the Detroit that's up there, Baltimore, but it feels like there's just more mediocrity and some parity than we've seen in a long time. Would you agree with that?
I think a lot of it has to do with all the quarterbacks who are out. I don't know if it's a record number, but it's a lot. Now Trevor Lawrence could miss a game or two, or we don't know how long he could be out. I don't buy for a second he's going to play Sunday. I think that has a lot to do with it. I think a lot of teams aren't able to run the ball like they should. Right now, Miami has home field advantage in the AFC. Dolphins, boy, they better get home field advantage, because that passing offense, if they got to play in the snow and the wind, or the wind and the rain in the playoffs, that's going to wreak havoc for them. Fortunately for them, they can still run the ball because they have the fastest running backs in the league. Baltimore's got the same record, but the Ravens have not been dominant. They're equipped to win in bad weather because they can run the ball. The Chiefs are just get discombobulated on offense. And the NFC, it's Philadelphia and San Francisco. Cowboy fans will go, oh, my God, how can you not pick the Cowboys? Well, I think the Cowboys will beat the Eagles, but the Cowboys always stink it up in the playoffs. The Cowboys have game management issues. They had one in that last victory over Seattle, one in which they should have handed the ball off, forced Seattle to burn a timeout at the end. Instead, they went for the touchdown. It was a ridiculous call by Mike McCarthy. And so I don't trust the Cowboys' game management, clock management in tough situations like I would with Kyle Shanahan and Nick Sirianni and Mike McDaniel and John Harbaugh. But it's a great race at the top. It's a great race at the bottom. A lot of teams need quarterbacks, and that's why teams right now that are losing, strange as those losses seem to be, I've never seen one like the Titans suffered Sunday, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. It's a high draft pick, and if you don't need a quarterback, you might be able to reap some benefits for teams that do need quarterbacks, and there's going to be multiple quarterbacks worthy of going in the first round, probably top 10. So if you finish with a high draft pick, like it looks like the Titans are destined to have, it might help them do a better job of rebuilding, whether the offensive line or wide receiver or whatever they want to do.
John, Monday night, the Titans travel to Miami to take on that high-powered Dolphins offense. You know, you've covered the league for a long time. Guys love to be on national TV, and this is a big spotlight for Miami. The Titans secondary is awful. Could you see another 70-point by the Dolphins to put on the board against this bad team? And would you think Mike McDaniel, I'm not saying he's going to run the score up, but, I mean, he's got to run his offense. This could be ugly Monday night.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's 70. That was so unusual out of the box. No, and I think also the Titans run the ball too much for a team to score a lot of points like that, unless it's turnovers. I mean, you run for 177 yards. Derrick Henry has 102 touchdowns, and you don't have an interception, and you dominate the clock. You know, you think, okay, you're going to win that game. Of course, nobody counts on losing the punter, which causes so many repercussions on what you do on special teams. But I think the fact that they can run the ball. Now, if they get put in passing situations, obvious situations where Levis has got to throw it throughout the second half and he has turnovers, then, you know, I know they had 2 fumbles, but if he gets intercepted, maybe. But I don't see them scoring 50, 60, or 70, maybe 40, because they've done that quite a bit. But I think the Titans, with Mike Vrabel's philosophy of running the ball, trying to keep it close, will keep them from a slaughter.
John, I loved Mike McDaniel's response when he was asked about being the number 1 seed right now. He said, call me when it's a 13-game season and I'll be excited to talk about the next game. I mean, that's, you know, the right answer, obviously, because there's a long way to go. But they do right now look the part as potentially being a number 1 seed in the AFC.
They do. That also, you know, they lost their best pass rusher, Jalen Phillips, a terrible injury. I watch them every week on the in-season Hard Knocks. I'm always fascinated by Hard Knocks because it lets us see players and coaches in a light that we never see. And Mike McDaniel, who was here 2 years under Gary Kubiak, but he was so far down, we never had any reason to talk to him. But his sense of humor, since he went with Kyle Shanahan and developed that kind of system, his personality is very clever. You know, when he's up in front of the media, he's always looking down. He's never looking at people. You know, when he was here, he always looks down, and that's kind of part of his charm. You know, he's so small. You hope his players don't run over him when they're running off the field, and he's doing a great job. But I can't wait to see when they have to play in a bad weather game, which is coming, and see how they react.
You know what, John, I'm looking at all the playmakers on that team. One of the favorite teams of all time that I love to watch, and it's a team you covered, was the 88 Oilers with all the great receivers and running backs. You know, everybody wanted the football. What I've yet to hear from this Dolphins team is guys complaining. I know Tyreek Hill did a little bit, but guys complaining they don't get the ball enough. I think Mike McDaniel's did a great job, John, of really balancing that offense out, kind of the same way the Oilers did in 88 with all the great players they had.
He's got 2 great receivers led by Tyreek Hill, who's trying to live up to his prediction that he was going to have 2,000 yards before the season. And, of course, we wouldn't rule it out. And then his rookie running back at Texas A&M was Devin Achane, and now he's Devon Achane. And he changed the pronunciation, and he is incredible. If he hadn't missed a bunch of games, he may be the fastest. He may be as faster than Tyreek Hill. And Rasheem Mostert, he is incredibly fast as well. So it's all about speed with McDaniel, and Tua Tagovailoa doesn't have to. He gets rid of the ball quicker than any quarterback in the league. And one reason is those receivers are so fast. I don't know that he's ever overthrown one. And when the Oilers played, they played the run and shoot under Warren Moon, and they had 4 wide receivers, no tight end, and 1 running back. And every time the offensive lineman dropped back on every snap, but they had a 1,000-yard runner because of draw plays, because the draws always caught the defense off guard. Now, they don't do that anymore. We've been suggesting here the Texans' running game is so pathetic they might as well run nothing but draw plays because they're putting so much pressure on C.J. Stroud because their running game is awful, and that's the last thing you want to do on a rookie quarterback. But I think back to the mediocre mediocrity, the parity, PARODY, a lot of the times, is amazing to me because we have race for the top and we have a race for the bottom, and the race for the bottom and Caleb Williams and Drake May and Daniels is going to be just as fast and furious as the race to get in the playoffs and clinch home field advantage.
He is John McClain. Sports Radio 610 in Houston is where you can find his work. We'll have more with him coming up next. Chasing Big Joe live today from MTSU 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Big Joe live today at MTSU 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Talking with John McClain, Sports Radio 610 in Houston. And John, the Titans, Mike Vrabel made a move earlier this week, firing Craig Aukerman, the special teams coach. And, you know, if you watch that game on Sunday, you can understand why. And there have definitely been some reasons to do it before then, but he goes ahead and makes the move, firing one of his assistants for the first time in season since he's been with the Titans, and it raised the speculation of, okay, did Amy Adams Strunk have something to do with that and make him do that? I don't really think that was the case, but did Bud Adams ever interfere that much when he was around and the owner of the Oilers and Titans?
Well, first of all, Amy Adams Strunk had absolutely nothing to do with the decision that Mike Vrabel makes as a coach. Mike has the authority on game days of the roster. He and Rand Cawthorn make the decisions like that, and Mike can do it. He doesn't need anybody's permission, but he ran it by Rand Cawthorn. He might have run it by Amy Adams Strunk. I don't know. But Bud didn't interfere. Bud, early in his career in the American Football League, they won the first 2 championships. They lost the third one in double overtime to Lamar Hunt's Dallas Texans, who became the Kansas City Chiefs. And Bud would fire coaches, but he didn't. He sometimes a general manager would want to bring in somebody that was going to cost a lot of money. And back then they used to call him Bottom Line Bud. But the fact is, starting in the 80s, Bud spent a hell of a lot of money. He used to tell me when I would write a column for the Houston Chronicle about what he should do on situations that required money. He said, "You sure do like to spend my money." I said, "I sure do, because you got a lot of it. You need to spend it." So when it came to personnel, he wanted to know what was going on, but he didn't say you have to do this or you have to do that.
John, with Derrick Henry, was out of the game on Sunday late, a quote-unquote concussion and everything. If you're Derrick Henry and you're not 100%, do you come back, John? I mean, I know he wants to play football, but then you got to look what's ahead. This team's not making the playoffs, and I know he's not the type of guy who wants to sit things out, but if he's not 100%, do you sit yourself out?
No, players never do that. Now, a guy's not playing like Zach Wilson is the outlier on something like that. But no, players want to play. They want to win. They knew how close they were to winning. Henry had already scored 2 touchdowns. It's not in their DNA to not want to go in. They press coaches and doctors to go in when they shouldn't be in. And today, of course, when it's anything around the neck and above, they err on the side of caution. And so, no, that didn't surprise me one bit.
With the Chiefs losing Sunday night, John, a lot of talk was like, well, I mean, that's not the same old team. Travis Kelce's doing stuff with Taylor Swift. Mahomes looks different. Is there a different vibe you're getting from this Chiefs team right now than you said maybe had earlier in the season?
Absolutely. They're not dominant. Their receivers have dropped more passes than anybody in the league. Travis Kelce's not scoring touchdowns. They're not wasting great defense. I mean, they still won twice as many as they've lost. I think maybe because of all their success in recent years, they think when maybe December is crunch time and early January, maybe they think they can flip a switch and turn it on. But it doesn't matter how well Patrick Mahomes throws the ball. If they can't catch it, they're not going to be successful. And maybe they'll start, but they seem just out of sync, discombobulated on offense. They run it fine. They're not a great running team. They're okay, but they thrive and die on the pass. And when you can't catch it, that has to be frustrating for Patrick Mahomes. Behind the scenes, he is not happy with the performance of his receivers.
John McClain is with us. And, John, I don't know if you had a chance to read Teron Davenport's piece. He sat down with Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon and, tried to talk to both of them. They kind of squelched some rumors on that there's dissension and things like that. And Mike Vrabel was quoted in saying that he's enjoyed working with Rand in his first year. Do you feel like it was important for both of them to speak on that, since there had been so many rumors out there, especially when it comes to Mike Vrabel and the Patriots?
Well, I don't think it was important to them to do it, but I think it was smart for them to do it. Most coaches, general managers, owners, they don't respond to things that are written or broadcast or talked about or put on podcasts, anything. They just let it go in one ear and out the other. That's the way they are here. You can write, broadcast, say anything you want. They never respond to anything good or bad. But I think the fact that they did it because of that, because it's such a disappointing season, because it's Cawthorn's first season, I think that it was good. And I can tell you this, D'Amico Ryans, the head coach here, who's leading candidate, should be for Coach of the Year, considering they were picked to be the second worst team, and now there's 7-5. He loves Cawthorn. He told me before the season, during the season, he said once he gets ingratiated in the organization, you're going to see his talent take off. Kyle Shanahan, who I know really well, really knew he was going to lose him to be a general manager. He didn't know when. He thinks very highly of him as well. So I think, the team doesn't have a lot of talent. As you guys know, you watch them every week, and they're going to have to start replenishing the supply. And it can't always be done in one off season. But if they believe Will Levis is their quarterback, just like here, they know C.J. Stroud is their quarterback. That just makes such a difference if you have that position solidified. And you can't judge any quarterback, including Bryce Young on his rookie season. You have to look at who they're playing with. I think that it's so much easier to rebuild a roster when you don't have to worry about the quarterback.
John, can we pass a law here pretty soon that we do not have to take a team from the NFC South to make the playoffs?
I remember one year, I think Carolina was 7-8-1, and they got to host a playoff game, and they won. One year, I think it was Seattle had a losing record, went to New Orleans, and they won. And a lot of people want them to reseed. Coaches are adamant. They want winning your division no matter how good or bad count for something, and that means you should get a home game. And even though the owners they decide those things, it's what Roger Goodell wants. Some owners out there still don't have a clue about anything, and because they're not involved in it, but they just go with the flow. But I don't think that's going to change, even if the NFC South has a team that's 6-11 win the thing. I think there's too much pressure from head coaches who don't get a lot of say. They have a lot of things they want to do, and the owners don't do it. But I think they're going to stick with that at least for another year. Now, if we have two teams to get in with losing records, that might change the format, but certainly not with one, because we've seen it happen before.
John, the Sunday night game, Eagles and Cowboys, great for NBC, great for football, great for us. What a great game to play. Philadelphia reeling a little bit, Cowboys playing really good football. That's going to be one heck of a football game Sunday night.
Cowboys finally beat a team with a winning record, even though Seattle had lost 3 in a row, and they barely beat them. And so now their schedule is really tough. We're going to find out if the Cowboys are a legitimate Super Bowl contender or they're a paper tiger again. And it starts with Philadelphia. Well, it kind of started with Seattle, but really with Philadelphia. Now, the Eagles are reeling from that loss to the 49ers. They are 1-5 against Dak Prescott at AT&T Stadium, and his loss was 2017. So it's going to be a great game. The ratings are going to be through the roof. I can't wait for it, just like everybody else. And so I'm like everybody. We want to see the Cowboys a legitimate Super Bowl contender, because they've been good before. They've won 12 games in each of the last 2 seasons and then fell apart in the playoffs. So it's going to be a big game for everybody. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one for sure. John, appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Chase and Joe, thank you very much. And I want to tell all your listeners out there, happy holidays and Merry Christmas.
Absolutely. Same to you. He is John McClain. Joins us every Wednesday at 9:30. Can't miss radio here on 102.5 The Game. Join Jared Stillman, Chris Sanders, and Derek Mason at Twin Peaks in Madison this Monday from 4 to 6 for the NFL pregame show. They'll break down the Titans' Week 14 matchup against the Dolphins and give you the latest updates before the game. NFL pregame is presented by Parman Tractor and Equipment and the Beast Unleashed. 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We're live on the beautiful campus of Middle Tennessee State University, a place that Joe and I spent a lot of time. It looks a little different from when we were here, but excited to be here as Derek Mason has been named the new head coach of the Blue Raiders, and Chris Massaro, their athletic director, joins us now. And Chris, I know it's been a crazy couple of weeks for you, but you got your guy, and I know you have to feel good about that.
We feel great about that, and we wanted to find a guy, honestly, Chase, that when Joe's doing the color broadcast, that he doesn't have to do a lot of fill at the end of the games or apologize. Kind of, we want him to be celebrating our victories. So that was front of mind, like, how can I help Joe Dubin
well, that's
on the broadcast? Yeah.
That is so important. Interest in this job. I know you sent out the thing last week. You had talked to 16, 18 coaches. What was that like?
It was great, and one of the things that the searches that do for you is it gives you a chance to reconnect with old friends and reactivate your networks and create new networks and all those kind of things. So that part was exhilarating. I get pumped talking to a lot of really talented and aggressive people. And so I will tell you, everybody that we Zoomed interviewed, I felt could do the job.
Yeah.
And then it becomes really difficult then to narrow it down to who you want to meet in person. And then it becomes really difficult once that happens to select one. And that's the whole idea, is when you get to the eeny, meeny, miny, mo stage, that no matter where that spins, that you're going to have a great coach. Now, I will say Derek kind of stood out at the end, and so there was separation there, but there were guys that could do this job, and there was a lot of interest in this job because, number one, they liked the location. Number two, the fact that we've demonstrated patience, and number three, coaches want to win, and they feel like you can win the conference from our job.
All the coaches probably told you, I'm going to come in and win, graduate players, this and that. What was it about Derek Mason that really stood out to you?
A couple things. I mean, he was probably the most local candidate that we had. That he, like I was saying off the air, we're not going to have to give him a GPS to find the high schools around here. We're not going to have him. He's not going to have to read bios of high school coaches. He knows them. And so that was important to us. He knows the media. He knows the landscape. He knows the culture of Middle Tennessee. So he's lived here. He's stayed here. All of those kind of things. So obviously he loves our mid-state. So that was a separator. I think his head coaching experience, and I think sometimes when it's difficult, you learn more. And so he had some difficult circumstances at Vandy. As he pointed out, the first year he was there, they're navigating the court case and the Vanderbilt rape case and those kind of things. And that's hard on your program, and particularly as you're trying to generate early momentum. Then he's, he was swinging in the highest level, the SEC and kind of a place that historically has had a difficult time doing that. And so what did he learn from those experiences? And then I'm really impressed with what he did post Vanderbilt. So stayed in the game, went to Auburn, Brian Harsin, and we can talk about Brian, but he knows offense. Brian's an offensive guy, and you look at what they did at Boise and some of the things that got him hired at Auburn, and then you look, and then he goes to Oklahoma State with Mike Gundy, who's run a premier program for 20 years, and so to be around that, and then to take last year off and just be media, and his own choice to take it off, and then the ability to study. It's like he was on the sabbatical, and
nice.
And to be able to go and study, because I can see value in that.
Sure.
I've sat in this job for a long time, and for me to spend a week or something with another AD that does it a little bit differently, I could see value in that. And he approached it with that attitude, and then conveying, like about week 4, he's got that coaching itch and wants to get back on the sideline. So I don't think anybody can doubt that fire still burns deep in his belly.
Chris Massaro is with us, MTSU athletic director. You know, Derek, as you mentioned, he's local. He coached at Vanderbilt. He stayed around here, you know, and has roots. How important was it knowing that Rick was here 18 years? It wasn't for him a stepping stone. He wanted to be here. How important was it for you to find a guy that wanted to be here, see this through, and not look at it as I'll be here a couple of years and then I'll take, you know, something else?
It was paramount for us to have a coach that saw this is a great opportunity and wanted to be here. I don't really get into are they going to stay? Are we going to get an 18-year, 10-year, all those kind of things. I just want a coach that can come in here and deliver some championships, and then let's deal with the aftermath. You know, and it's kind of like the transfer portal. My job is to make sure the coaches have great experiences here.
Yeah.
And if other opportunities come calling after success, then they're exiting the program better than they found it. And we've kind of facilitated their dreams. We need to have the same attitude towards the transfer portal. We're not going to hang on to everybody. Talking to coaches from Alabama and Georgia, and whether they're candidates or reference checks, and they're concerned about their players in the portal. You know, and so at the very highest level of football, people are concerned about hanging on to their players. So it's kind of foolish for us to be sitting here thinking that we're going to hang on to all our players, as it is with our coaches. And if we have success and they do what Lane Kiffin did in our league, deliver 2 or 3 championships, then, man, that's great. And we're going to go out and hire another great coach because this is a great job.
What was it like when you told Derek Mason he was the new head coach at MTSU?
It was great. It was great. That's the fun part of the job, you know, and we kind of sealed it up last night at the president's residency, and we broke out the champagne and gave a toast, you know, and that kind of thing, and a lot of hugs, those kind of things. So it was a really kind of special private moment. And then we kind of went over and talked to the players because, you know, let's high five and celebrate, but there's also work to do.
Sure. Were you surprised at the interest in the program? I mean, I know you don't want a 4-8 season, but all the coaches that wanted this job.
No. Because I knew, you know, and people give you hints through you know, through your networks and all those kind of things that there'd be great interest, like, you know, and in the off season you get like, hey, not rooting against Coach Stock, but if anything ever happens, you know, and they give you that.
You get that a lot.
Yeah, they give you that. And I ask questions like every time there's a coaching search the last 6-7 years, like, oh, I know who you hired, but who didn't you hire that keeps you awake at night? Because the best time to do your list is when you're not in a search. The best time to do search is when you're not in one. Yeah. And that's how you develop your lists, when there's no, you know, and those are just curiosity questions, but they're questions that actually have a purpose for me.
I do have to ask you, because Rick was here for so long, and what he meant overall to MTSU and being somebody. I always joked with him. We came in the same year. Now, I was here longer than maybe I needed to be, but I was here. Yeah. But he did mean a lot.
Let me tell you something and what I just described before. The reason that there was so much interest in this job was because of Coach Stock.
Yeah.
And you think about what he inherited.
Sure.
You know, and we're just this neophytes into this FBS game. You know, Andy did a great job of that transition, and he should always have a great piece in our history. But Coach Stock kind of took us, never been to a bowl game. Now we've been to 10. You know, and also his legacy of how he treated people, particularly his student athletes. And he cared that they graduate, Chase. He cared about that. And that was his primary. He was the academic liaison. And if a kid got in trouble, they met with Coach Stock. You know, and so those kind of things that he's accomplished, and some of our best wins in school history are under his tenure.
Yeah.
So I hope and think and pray that his legacy will be really a great legacy here, and fans will adopt that. You will never hear me, and I said it in our press conference on termination day, that you will never hear me say anything bad about Coach Stock. He's a champion of a person. He's a great guy. I think administratively, we could have supported him better. So we learned those lessons. I think a fresh pair of eyes is kind of sometimes is important.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And we need that. And so, and I've told every candidate I said, like, all the stuff we're talking about right now, we're promising you this and we're promising you that. And, oh, yeah, you have our support. Remind me, Chris Massaro, of that in May when you're pushing me. I need a coach to push me too.
Sure.
And that's what good coaches do. There's an old saying, Chase, that your producers stress the system and your non-producers hide within the system. And so I want a coach and Derek will be that way. And Stock was a producer, so I don't want that to be misinterpreted. Sure. But I want a coach that will stress our system. We need to wake ourselves up out of a status quo. And that includes me. That includes our staff. That includes everybody associated with the program. How we can do better, because you don't you don't fix the bus, or if the bus has a flat tire, by just changing the bus driver.
Right.
You got to look at the other
Ooh,
stuff.
I like that.
That's a good
You
one.
got to look at the other stuff. So we got to give this new coach those kind of opportunities. And what lessons have we learned? Just like the lessons that Derek learned from his Vanderbilt experience and from being at Oklahoma State and being at Auburn and taking the year off.
Right.
We got to learn our lessons administratively.
Did you read your Zig Ziglar book this morning? 'Cause
No,
you're coming at us.
But I just
strong.
I feel really strongly about that.
Good.
And I'm a quiet guy by nature, but I'm a thinker, and I got an internal fire that rages. So I think some people get confused by that, but that's one of the things we need. And the other thing that I think, just personality-wise, that Derek and I are really different. That's pretty obvious just watching our remarks today. And I think we needed that in our department, and so we need that. And so Derek fits that bill perfectly.
Tennessee Tech could let's get that game going, right?
Let's go, man. And they got a new coach, Bobby Wilder, over there that was at Old Dominion, so we're kind of familiar with him, and so that'll be a battle of the new coaches. And when I told Derek kind of our non-conference schedule, he already knew it.
Right.
But it's like, okay, we got Ole Miss, we got Duke, and we've got Memphis, and we got Tennessee Tech. So let's go.
Yeah.
Then Conference USA. The other thing that I liked about him is he did broadcast the Conference USA games.
Yeah.
So he knows our league. He watched New Mexico State. He had the New Mexico State Auburn game. So he saw them at the best, and then he's going to do a couple bowl games for ESPN. So we'll get that kind of publicity.
That's pretty good.
Out of there. Yeah. So he had Western Kentucky and Jacksonville State.
Oh, wow.
As well. So our primary competitors within the conference, he did 2 days of film study on each one.
Good.
So it's not like he's starting from scratch. So that was really attractive to me as well.
Not at all. Well, Chris, congratulations. You got a good one. We're excited to –
Yeah.
Obviously, it helps us. We know him.
Yeah.
So it'll be good to talk to him again. But
Yeah.
I know you have to feel very excited about the status here with the Blue Raiders.
And we so appreciate you guys being our radio partners and what you do for the Blue Raiders. So this is our Blue Raider radio station, and I really enjoyed being around Joe and the great job he did. Joe's got a big fan of my wife because I don't hear the broadcast live,
right.
but she hears a lot of.
Oh,
she
no.
loves Joe Dubin. So it's like enough on Joe.
Well, let's get her. I look forward to calling basketball, softball, baseball, whatever you got down there. I'll keep
Sounds
calling.
good. That sounds good.
Thank
Joe.
you, Chris. We think
See
the
you guys.
world of you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Take care.
Chris Massaro, athletic director here at MTSU. We're going to have Coach Derek Mason join us here in just a little bit. 102.5, 106.3 The Game. And Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, live today at MTSU on their beautiful campus. We're in the Student Union Center. It was funny, Joe, when we were setting all this up, Mark Owens asked me, do you know where it is? And I go, yeah, for most of my tenure at MTSU, it was a crater because they were building it, and I got to enjoy it for a semester. So, but it's awesome, and I guess it's been here over 10 years now. But
Yeah, it's
very cool spot.
And they just opened all the restaurants below us, and so you can smell the food. So that's driving me crazy.
Is that where
too
you're
as
going to
well.
go in a few minutes?
It's not. I've got to go. I'm actually meeting our good friend Mike Organ this day about noon over a big event that Metro. I think Metro's giving out the Hume Award today.
Okay.
Over at Sweat's Restaurant in North Nashville. So a lot of coaches will be there, a lot of ex-players in the National Interscholastic League will be there today. So it's always a fun day to honor these young men who win and nominated for this prestigious award. Interesting talking to Massaro. And my question is –
And Derek Mason going to join us in a few minutes.
Yes, sir. And my question was not because you went 4-8, but because – you're inside the bubble like Chris Massaro is, and then you got to step outside the bubble, and you wonder if people want this job. And then, he talked about how many, dozens and dozens inquired about this job because it is a good football job, regardless. I'm just talking about coaching football, regardless of attendance and support and all that. And we can get into all that later on. But as far as a coaching football, this is, I think, a good job.
Yeah,
and I think they hired a good guy. I think Derek Mason. So now you got to win on the field. You can win the press conference all day long. You can win the community. Bottom line is you've got to win on Saturdays.
Yep, and obviously he's got to play the portal. He's got to play the recruiting game. He's got to get the right coaches in here on his staff. And I'm sure there'll be some that he's worked with in the past, from familiarity. But I think it's also good, to talk to the current staff and retain some and get new ideas, and there's just different ways to do that.
Well, there is. Plus, he's going to bring in his own people, and rightfully so, bring his own people and to do things. But what I think is cool, though, is he's going to call a couple of bowl games.
Yeah.
So, like Chris was talking about. So MTSU head football coach Derek Mason is going to call this game or that game. So good. That is a good push because for promotion on this level, and I think it'll be fine. But, the first game is Tennessee Tech here next August, and then that right now is the most important game in MTSU football is the Tennessee Tech game. That's the next one.
Yep, the next one for sure. Real quick, I saw Ryan Porth, our buddy in Chicago now, sent me an interesting little story that is making its way in Chicago, but it affects our city. So the MLB winter meetings are happening right now at Opryland as they come here. They're kind of on a 5-6 year rotation, something like that they come here. And this is from Politico, and it says, Jerry Reinsdorf, who's the chair majority owner of the White Sox, was spotted walking out of Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell's office on Tuesday. Obviously, as I mentioned, the winter meetings are here. There's been talk for months that Reinsdorf is looking to move the Sox from Guaranteed Rate Field when the team's lease expires in 6 years. Reinsdorf recently acknowledged, if we have 6 years left, we've got to decide what's the future going to be. Now, look, I think that he wanted people in Chicago to see this. I think this is a power play for a new stadium. The, new Kaminsky or Guaranteed Rate Field, I think, is about 30 years old, something like that.
It is, 91, I think it is.
And I've been to it. They've taken care of it. It's nice, but, I certainly understand – wanting to try and get a new facility. I think that's all this is. I think the White Sox are going to stay in Chicago. I think they'll get a new stadium, and that will be it. But certainly interesting and something to pay attention to is baseball continues to be linked to Nashville.
The White Sox ain't coming here. Let's just get that now. And if I'm the White Sox and if I'm Chicago and the mayor and the government, you come on through. I would say, go to Nashville. Yeah, see what happens. You're not taking the White Sox out of Chicago. I mean, it's a great gesture, but we're all smart now. I mean, remember Bud Adams flirted with Jacksonville, flirted with Memphis, and then started dating Nashville. I get that. That ain't happening. Yeah. So it's not.
I just realized, so we both ate these MTSU cookies. We both have blue tongues.
Oh, great. Oh man,
We
I've
are
only
true
eaten about
blue.
6 of them down there as well.
Well,
I
where did you
know
find them?
it's it's good to talk about it, and I wonder how the other
Yeah.
baseball. What's the other baseball team here with Dave Stewart trying to get him going on? What are they-
The Nashville Stars,
Nashville
Music
Stars.
City Baseball. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. They want to do an expansion.
I don't think baseball works here in the next 10 years. With the stadium coming in, with corporate money, with the Titans and the Predators, I don't think baseball would work here at least for another 10 years.
Let me propose this. If they
I'm
built,
not taking that. Go ahead.
if they built a Major League Baseball stadium in the county we are currently in, would you go? Would you make the drive from Nashville and go?
No.
I think a lot of people would. And you know who it would piss off more than anybody? The Atlanta Braves. Because where we sit right now, we're probably 3 hours from that ballpark.
Okay.
But I could see something like Rutherford County or Williamson County if you can't put it downtown. Ideally, it needs to be downtown on the river next to the Titans.
Well, Rutherford County's not going to pay for it. Williamson County's not going to pay for it. I mean, it's like, all right, that's a national.
No,
stadium.
it would take. I mean, you're
We'll come
private
down and
money.
visit, and that baseball stadium needs to be downtown. Needs to be by
Sure.
the Titans stadium, somewhere down there. But it's 10 years out. I mean, it's just 10 years out from doing that because now the priority is going to be the Titans' new stadium, and going forward. And at some point, does Bridgestone get a new? I mean, we talk something there as well. I mean, who knows?
I mean, that's a good point. That building's. Now look, the building's 25, 26 years old, and you wouldn't know it.
no.
And that's been the biggest difference is with Nissan Stadium, you knew its age, but we all, those of us that were here,
Yeah.
it was like, oh, we need it. We're getting an NFL team. Let's just do this.
Right.
And that's and that's why 20-something years later they're building a new stadium.
Plus, the NFL, 2/3 of the league now, or 3/4 of the league now has got new stadiums.
Yeah.
That have come in. I think the first event at Bridgestone, it might have been
Amy
around
Grant.
this time. Yeah,
was
December
Amy
of '96, and then
Yep.
it was the ice figure skating.
Yep.
You did great that weekend
Thank
too.
you.
You fell down on the triple Lundy, but other than that, you
I
were
cried and you picked me up.
I did, and skated you over, and I found that you had a broken femur. But other than that, we were good to go. No, but it's not going to happen. I mean, I get it, and it's exciting.
Oh, I think it's
going
going to happen. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen tomorrow.
And somebody with the sounds, he's not there anymore, made it very clear because somebody said, we'll just build on top of that sound
can't
and expand
do
it. And there's like, please let people know you can't build on top. You can't add like 3 upper decks. It's not possible.
Sure.
So just to let you know there.
Yeah. Well, certainly interesting for sure. We are hoping to be joined by, I'm going to have to get used to this, MTSU football coach Derek Mason is scheduled to join us here in just a few minutes. He's
Right.
wrapping up some media obligations, and then he's going to come over with us. So looking forward to that conversation with him as he was named the head football coach here at MTSU. So congratulations to him, and looking forward to that. And, of course, you can hear their games on 93.3 Classic Hits. Speaking of where he used to be, Vanderbilt Commodores. They're in action tonight in basketball. The Commodores take on San Francisco at Memorial Gym. Tip-off at 7, pregame at 6:30. Coverage also available on the 102.5 The Game app and at thegamenashville.com.
Hey, friends, listen to me. I want you to say goodbye to medical bills. Yes, when you use Medical House Calls, you don't have to worry about hidden fees or surprise charges. Medical House Calls is revolutionizing how patient care is getting done. Patients pay one flat fee no matter the treatment, making Medical House Calls more affordable than the average urgent care and emergency room. Also, this cold and flu season, you can get tested and treated without leaving your home. Their mobile medical services are here to make your health a top priority. Simply visit medicalhousecalls.com and see what everyone is talking about. In fact, Chuck McDowell loved the treatment he received. He bought the company. Yeah, medicalhousecalls.com, my friends, where the nearest clinic is your home.
Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, live today on the campus of Middle Tennessee State University. And so excited to be joined by a guy that is no stranger to this radio station, Coach Derek Mason, the new head coach of the Blue Raiders. Derek, it's so good to see you. Congratulations.
Chase, Big Joe, man. I tell you what, it's like being back at a family reunion. You know, it happens like every 4 to 5 years. In this case, it's been 2 years, man. So it's good to see you guys. It really is. It's good to be home.
We were just talking to you off the air that you took the year off. You know, when you left Vanderbilt, you're coordinator at Auburn, coordinator at Oklahoma State. You take the year off. How important was that year off to just reset and figure out what's next?
And that's what it was. It was a reset. You know, truthfully, I think for me, coaching the ball in those 2 years, the ball was good. The mind wasn't clouded. It was just, you know, the lingering effect. I probably should have took some time off, you know, I mean, after Vandy. But, you know, like for me, coaches do what coaches do, right?
Sure.
You're a coach, you coach. But, I mean, like there came a time where, I mean, I sat down with my family, and they were honest with me. And so, I mean, it was just time. And the reset was good. I took my wife to Paris. We never had a honeymoon, so that was our honeymoon. You know, been married 30 years. So, like, to be able to get that time, to create some memories, right? Most of the memories that I have with my children are around bowl games. To be honest. And to create some new memories, to be away from the game, to fall in love with the game again. I saw as much on Thursday night and Friday night high school games as I saw in college football on Saturday. And so, like, to me, it gave me a new appreciation and a true reset for why I missed the game. I missed the whistle. I missed the grass.
Yeah.
I missed the schematics. I missed the camaraderie. I missed the ability to smell that locker room. And have guys, you know, understand that you're in it with them. So all those things were they came up. Those emotions came up and came back, and they were stronger, much stronger than when I left.
Do you call that being grateful?
Yes, 100%. And I think that's a great way to put it. I'm grateful. I'm so thankful that I had the opportunity to really step back, reset, refocus, refresh. And now, man, it feels good. I think that showed in the interview process, right? Because you have to have energy, you have to have passion, but you also have to have a clear head and direction as to where you want to
go. What about this job stood out to you? Why did you want this job, I should say?
The bones of MTSU, or Middle Tennessee, is really good. It's been good. Coach Stock built something that was special here. And you know what? This place has history. Okay, and I think with, you know, President McPhee and Chris, what we see is alignment. I love the alignment piece.
Right.
Right? Because they talk to me specifically about the plan. Okay, buildings don't win games. Okay, players do, right?
Yeah.
But buildings give you an opportunity, okay, to talk about recovery and resourcing and all those things that matter, okay, to our student athletes. And so they've moved in that direction to where, you know, we understand what's happening in 2025. But the short-term commitment, you know, staff, okay, you've got to be able to put the right staff together. And that's including guys that are already here, but just going through the evaluation process and or going out to get the best available coach, okay, that's out there that fits what we do. Doing that early in the cycle, right? I'm early in the cycle. So like getting a coaching job early in the cycle means that you get a chance to plan. You get a chance to be specific about, you know, who you want, what you want your program to look like, from strength and conditioning to recovery to our full calendar year and travel. So to make sure that we get the right recruiting staff like put together. So I think all these things were appealing because I know this. People were like, hey, well, why wouldn't you wait? You know what? It's not a bird in the hand. It's better than two in the bush. This is a lottery ticket. Yeah. I feel like Middle Tennessee, you know, is a lottery ticket. And you know what? I mean, I scratched and won. So
Good.
now, man, it's about getting to work and doing the things that coaches, staffs, and players need to do in order to find ourselves being competitive in 2024.
MTSU head football coach Derek Mason is with us on the Chasing Big Joe show. A lot has changed in college sports from your first day at Vanderbilt to now your first day at MTSU. There's
Right.
NIL, there's the transfer portal is the wild, wild west.
Right.
So how do you go about that and navigate those waters now that you're here at MTSU?
Well, I think we have to know who we are. Let's be realistic about like who we are. Middle Tennessee is a really good, I'd say outstanding Group of 5 program.
Yep.
So, like with that, okay, I believe in NIL. We're going to work to resource, our players in the program. But I want young men to come here, man, because this is a school they want to come to. This is a place where they feel like they're going to be developed. They're going to get a degree. They're going to have an opportunity, if they do it right, okay, with the resources, with the coaching, and with the opportunity to hopefully play in the NFL. If you can do it at Vandy, if you can do it at Stanford, you can do it at MTSU. It's been done. So, like, to me, I think my focus has to be on recruiting high school talent, developing high school talent, getting into the junior college ranks, okay,
Yep.
meant for players, and looking at what's in the portal to supplement and or paying, okay, our older players, like to stay because they've done the hard work.
Yeah, sure.
So that's the way I see it. I don't think there's any in between. I'm not going to be one to look at paying young players, right? I think you keep what you earn. So let's earn it. Let's get it. We'll raise it, and we'll give it to you, okay, when you show that you're capable of getting it done. But make no mistake, okay, we will work for NIL. We're going to get that done. Me, football alumni, we're going to work hard, a collective, whatever it takes, we're going to get that done.
A lot of times, a lot of Middle Tennessee football fans were kind of not upset, but the lack of recruiting inside Middle Tennessee about players. What's your plan to go after guys in Nashville and Rutherford County, Williamson County? Because you will know there's a lot of great high school football players that are here that are leaving Middle Tennessee area and going out of state. Is your plan to go in and talk to these guys?
Absolutely. I'll probably be trying to do that as soon as I get off this radio interview. I think this much. Why does a young man have to leave Rutherford County to go to Liberty and play football?
Right.
Yeah,
you're
right. I'm with you.
I'm just being completely honest.
You're right.
So like to me, that has to change. We have to make sure that our guys know, okay, that playing in front of their community, that being a part of this, leaving their legacy here, winning championships, it's all part of what we want to get done, here. Okay,
right.
We want you. So anybody listening out there, hey, parents of Middle Tennessee, student athletes, you want to come see us. You want to sit down and have a conversation, and let's talk about, okay, development, degrees, and being able to play, like, in championships. And like, I'm not promising you the world. I'm just promising you that the journey will be exactly what you want it to be.
Nice.
Coach Derek Mason is with us, and there's somebody back at our studio that wants to say hi to you, and congratulations. That is wide receiver Derek Mason, who's standing by. D-Mace, what's up?
What's going on, Chase? Coach Mason, what's happening?
My dude. I should say, hey, man, that you know what? I'm named after him. My guy.
Oh, man. No, I wanted to get on. I tried to send you a message through social media yesterday, but I know you were busy. But I just wanted to get on and say congratulations, man. I know this is a great opportunity for you. You wouldn't have taken a job if you didn't think so.
That's right.
You're following up a legendary coach in Coach Stockstill.
That's right.
And you're going to get this program back to where it needs to be. So congratulations to you. Oh, and by the way, Pearl Cone got a few good players down here. I just want to throw that out there. Okay?
You tell Coach Bernetti, hey, man, hey, Thursday morning, 7:30, rolling down I-65, coming to get him.
Oh, man. But, yep, I'm sure you're going to win a lot of games there, Coach.
Thank you.
And it was an enjoyment seeing you, on the other side, the media side, calling games. but the voice didn't sound right calling games. You needed to be back on the sideline. So congrats.
I appreciate that.
Congrats. I mean, you did a great job, but I'm used to you being on the sideline. So congratulations, Coach, man. I know you're going to do the great job down there. Over there, up there, down there, MTSU. So
I need you though. Hey, look, I'm gonna have you. I need you to come in here, man, and spend a little bit of time.
Oh, no doubt.
Okay, like really talking to like our young men about the work needed and necessary, man, to be successful. Because what you've been able to do both on and off the field, like how you've carried yourself, the things that you embody, man, it's a body of work. And a lot of times guys just don't get a chance to see the body of work. They just see the end product.
Exactly.
So
Absolutely.
I need you.
Oh, I will be there. Believe
Come on.
me. Believe me.
Thank you.
I'll be there and to support the university, but more importantly, to support you, Coach Mason. But congratulations again. And
Thank
I'm
you,
sure
my
we'll
man.
be talking a lot after a bunch of victories there in MTSU.
I love it. Thank you so much,
No
Mason.
problem,
That's
Coach.
true.
Yep.
Coach, we're getting the helicopter, which
Okay.
means we got to wrap up. Now,
Swirl it
it's
up.
not the Larry Leathers helicopter.
Okay.
but it's a done. It's a pretty good one. Congratulations!
Thank
it's
you.
so good to see you, and we're
Well
definitely
done.
going to be doing this a lot.
Look, hey, fellas, you guys are the best. Like I said, family reunion.
Yeah.
It's good. It's
And
good to
Jared
see
says congratulations as well.
you. Oh, man, let them know I said hello.
I will.
All right.
I
Take
will.
care.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach Derek Mason,
Appreciate you.
MTSU head football coach, joining us here on the program. We'll come back with celebrity birthdays next. 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game, presented by Regal Realty Group. We are live today. MTSU, appreciate Derek Mason, Vanderbilt football coach, joining us. And also I did it. I knew I was going to do it.
Don't do it.
MTSU head football coach. I got to get used to that.
The MTSU football Instagram account has photoshopped Derek Mason. They've done a pretty good job, right?
That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
That is really good.
I like that hat he's got on.
I like that hoodie. That's
Take
good.
that hat from
MTSU football coach Derek Mason. I appreciate him for joining us. You know, I got to get used to it.
Well, you do. And, you know, and the takeaway, look, I've heard from a lot of Middle Tennessee football fans and alumni and ex-players about the recruiting in Middle Tennessee, how, you know, a lot of great players here can go out. I know the young man he's talking about of Oakland High School, great tight end, strong, big physical, going to Liberty.
Yep.
And I don't know if the former staff reached out to him. I don't know that. But those are the guys you got to keep here.
Sure.
And there's other guys that have left Middle Tennessee. And Oakland's got a great center who's going to Austin Peay. He could play here.
Yep.
I mean, so if he makes that a priority, he knows these coaches like Chris Massaro was talking about, like Coach Mason's talking about, and you and I, you know, we love Middle Tennessee high school football, a lot of great talent. And you go and you kind of harvest that and get these guys to stay here. It could be a world of difference.
I should have asked him this, and maybe he's already done it. But at the end of the NFL season, first phone call he needs to make is to Kevin Byard. Get to know Kevin Byard. Talk about the program, you know, what he experienced, what he wants to see as an alum. And I mean, you know, and guys like our D-Mace, you know, coming and talking, it's all important. And it will help the process. But – you know, I thought he made a really good point about buildings. I mean, that's going to help you keep players too. What they're doing here. I mean, I'm going to walk around campus. I haven't done that in a while. I don't recognize this place. Like, I don't. And it looks awesome. This building we're in now, you know, what they're doing with the athletic facilities is going to be fantastic. And that's only going to help him keep those players that you're talking about here at MTSU.
Well, you know, to a point you just made, I mean, bringing in, you know, a guy like Derek Mason, the football player, to talk to these guys and to be able to touch him and talk to him and see him and listen to him about, here's what I did to get to the next level. You know, I worked my tail off. I mean, so those like Byard, Mason, those are great stories these kids can take away from. And, you know, you build that culture and you go forward from there. So Tennessee Tech, August here, that's the first game for Derek Mason, and then after that, I think it's Ole Miss, Memphis, and Duke, and you're off and rolling. So football can't get here next year soon enough, but they got their head coach.
Yeah, very, very cool. All right, with that, let's get to celebrity birthdays. And that is presented by Zach Pillar and his new Instagram account. Follow Zach on Instagram at Zach Pillar Design 69 to step into his world.
Step into that world. All right, first birthday. Here we go, Chase. Our first birthday today is actress Jo Beth Williams. She was in Poltergeist. Also, Teachers was a great movie. How old is Jo Beth Williams?
I'm going to say she is 68.
83.
75. Good job, guys. Peter Buck. He is the guitar player for REM. How old is Peter Buck? It says a fun fact about him. Once voiced an animated version of himself on The Simpsons.
Did he?
Yeah.
70.
62.
67. Isn't that one they recycle? I think that might be an episode where they recycle.
Yeah,
Director Judd Apatow, whatever.
57.
66.
56.
Boom.
Job. Him and Adam Sandler were roommates and best friends. Actress Lindsay Price. She was on she on Beverly Hills 90210? I think she was.
Like the original one?
Yeah. You can see a picture of her right there. You don't get the birthday, though.
Yeah. 48.
54.
47. Chaser Rowland. National native country singer Helen Cornelius.
Helen Cornelius. I don't know who that is.
Country singer.
Thank you. 73.
58.
82. Actor James Naughton. He was in A Werewolf in London, American Werewolf in London. Also, he did the Dr. Pepper commercials growing up. James Naughton. I think that's correct. Maybe not.
65.
71.
He is 78. Let's go down here. Let's see what else we got. Country singer Bill Lloyd of Foster and Lloyd.
78.
81.
68. Comedian Stephen Wright. How old is Stephen Wright?
We just talked about him, didn't we?
We did.
Stephen Wright, 46.
38.
68. Guys are really good. Janine Turner. She was in the TV show Northern Exposure. She dated Jerry Jones' son for a little while. She was also, was she an episode of Seinfeld, I think? I can't remember which episode it was.
61.
67.
61 exactly.
Nice.
Chase looking at my screen.
I'm not. I'm looking at my screen.
And
Got
then
time for like one more.
that's it. That's all we got. We're done.
Okay.
Chase wins 3-0. Nick, I'm disappointing you. You won
Yeah.
yesterday, though. But
It's
It's
okay.
a rough day, but you know what? It's a good day.
It's a good day for sure. Appreciate MTSU for having us today. Congratulations to Coach Derek Mason as he has been named the new head football coach here at MTSU. Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace coming up next.
Yeah, as always, we tell our guys out there, listen, we want you to know that we care about you. We love you. If you're struggling, please go talk to somebody. Call 988 on your cell phone. Please call 988 on your cell phone. I'm talking to you dads, brothers, sons out there. We love you, and our world is a better place because you are here. Please, please know that.
Amen to that. Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace next.